Hi, welcome back. Think that 20-cent coin in your pocket is worthless? What if I told you one tiny detail could make it worth over $500,000? From secret mint marks to hidden errors, these Australian 20-cent coins are hiding big surprises. First up, 1976 20-cent coin. The year was 1976. Australia was settling into the rhythm of decimal currency, a system that had officially replaced pounds, shillings, and pence just a decade earlier in 1966. Among the circulation coins produced that year, the 20-cent coin stood out not because of a flashy design change or rare minting error, but because it represented a period of transformation in the country's coinage, production, and economic flow. The 1976 Australian 20-cent coin features the iconic platypus on its reverse side, a Dutch, designed by Stuart Devlin, who was appointed goldsmith and jeweler to Queen Elizabeth. Is Devlin's elegant portrayal of the elusive platypus in motion, rippling through stylized water, is considered one of the most graceful designs in Australian decimal currency. The coin's obverse features the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, sculpted by Arnold Machan, a familiar image for anyone collecting Australian coins from the 1960s to 1980s. This particular year, 1976, saw a mintage of around 58.4 million 20-cent coins. While this number may sound high, collectors know that condition, rarity in uncirculated form, and even subtle variations can elevate a coin's desirability. In circulated condition, the 1976 20-cent coin holds modest value, typically under $1. However, in premium grade conditions like MS-65 or higher, coins can fetch $2,000 to $3,000, depending on the sharpness of strike, luster, and whether the coin exhibits full mint brilliance. One interesting aspect of 1976 20-cent coins is the lack of notable mint errors or varieties widely recorded, making high-grade examples even more desirable. In the absence of significant varieties, coin collectors place emphasis on quality. A near-perfect uncirculated 1976 coin, free from nicks or bag marks, with shimmering cartwheel luster, becomes a trophy piece in a decimal collection. For those with an eye for detail, it's always worth checking for off-center strikes, broad strikes, or die cracks, rare minting mishaps that sometimes sneak through even in high-volume years. Such error coins, when authenticated and graded, can command much higher prices in auctions or private sales. Over the decades, the 1976 20-cent coin has become a subtle marker of its time, not rare in general circulation, but a must-have for any collector looking to complete a full set of Australian decimal coins by year. It's a coin that represents the steady march of history, the evolving artistry of Australian minting, and the enduring fascination with everyday pocket change that could hide a hidden gem. Next up, 1999 Australian 20-cent coin. The 1999 Australian 20-cent coin may seem like a common coin to most people, casually sitting in coin jars or slipped into vending machines. But for collectors and enthusiasts, even the most recent decades in decimal coinage hold a world of detail, nuance, and potential value, especially when the mintage figures and quality of strikes come into play. Issued near the close of the 20th century, the 1999 20-cent coin continued to carry the familiar and beloved reverse, designed by Stuart Devlin, the iconic platypus swimming among rippling waters. By this point, the design had become a national symbol of the currency, instantly recognizable and distinctly Australian. On the obverse, however, there was a change. The 1999 coin features the third effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Ian Rank Broadley, introduced in 1998. This portrait is bolder and more lifelike than previous versions, and many collectors distinguish coins by this obverse change as a key period transition. The mintage for 1999 was approximately 87.4 million, a relatively high number, making it a common coin in circulation. In everyday condition, these coins are generally only worth their face value. However, when it comes to collecting, the story doesn't end there. Uncirculated examples, especially in mint state grades like MS-65 and above, can sell for $15,000 to $25,000, particularly if they exhibit sharp detail, no contact marks, and brilliant luster. What makes them valuable is not rarity in mintage, but rarity in condition. Coins struck with fresh dies and preserved carefully from circulation can show stunning detail in the platypus's whiskers and the fine lines of water. Another aspect that collectors look out for in 1999 coins is minting errors. As with all high mintage years, the chance for mistakes increases. Off-center strikes, cuds, die breaks, and even double strikes have been observed in 1999 20-cent pieces, though they're not widespread. If found, these errors can drastically increase the coin's value, sometimes to thousands of dollars, depending on severity and eye appeal. There are also rumors and speculation among collectors about low mintage proofs and mint sets from 1999, although these are officially documented in small numbers. For those seeking top-tier examples, acquiring a proof version from an official mint set can be a rewarding investment. These are highly struck with a mirror-like finish and are rarely seen in circulation. While it may not appear to be a standout at first glance, the 1999 Australian 20-cent coin is an important marker in numismatic history. It bridges 2 centuries, features the modern effigy of the monarch, and continues a tradition of strong national design. In high grades and with patience, collectors may uncover coins from this year that are worth well beyond 20 cents, economically and historically. Next up, the 1967 20-cent coin. The year 1967 was just the second year of decimal currency circulation in Australia, and coins minted during this period hold special significance. The 20-cent coin of 1967, though produced in large numbers, is one of the earliest examples of Australia's full embrace of the decimal system, which officially began in 1966. This historical context gives the coin inherent collector appeal. Like its predecessor from 1966, the 1967 20-cent coin features Stuart Devlin's iconic depiction of the platypus on the reverse. It's fluid. Modern aesthetic was a major departure from the stiff heraldry and classical motifs of pre-decimal coinage. The obverse of the 1967 coin features the Arnold Macham portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, a youthful and stately image that was used across Commonwealth nations throughout the 1960s and 70s. The mintage for this year was 26.6 million, which is relatively modest compared to later years, and this alone adds to its appeal among those assembling complete date sets or focusing on early decimal issues. Due to the coin's age, finding high-grade specimens becomes increasingly difficult with each passing year. In circulated condition, values typically remain modest, ranging between $100 and $300. However, uncirculated or mint state examples can command $5,000 to $75,000 or more, depending on grade, toning, and eye appeal. One of the key attractions of the 1967 20-cent coin is its historical role in the decimal transition. Many collectors, both in Australia and globally, seek to assemble a full run of the first 5 years of decimal coins, 1966 through 1970, making 1967 a pivotal piece. Furthermore, because this coin was minted at a time when coin collecting surged in popularity due to the switch to decimal currency, many families and individuals saved coins from this era. However, the majority were circulated and now exhibit wear. Collectors should also be aware of a few rare mint error types from this year, including clipped planchets, off-center strikes, and die cracks. Although not especially common, authenticated errors from 1967 are highly desirable and often sell for hundreds of dollars at auction, depending on the severity and uniqueness of the flaw. Another important aspect of 1967 coins is their legacy in popular memory. As the second decimal issue, many Australians recall this coin from childhood or from early savings. Ultimately, the 1967 Australian 20-cent coin is not just currency. It's a time capsule. It captures a unique era in Australian history, reflects the artistic vision of Stuart Devlin at the beginning of his legendary career in coin design, and offers modern collectors a tangible link to a time of great change and optimism. Whether you find it in a coin jar or acquire it in pristine uncirculated condition, it remains a foundational piece of any Australian decimal coin collection. Next up, 1980 20-cent coin. The 1980 Australian 20-cent coin may at first appear like any other in your loose change, but look deeper, and you'll find that this coin is a subtle but vital part of Australia's numismatic story. minted during a time of global economic flux, technological advancements, and shifting artistic standards in coin production. The 1980 20-cent piece holds a special place in the heart of collectors, especially those focused on varieties and die markers. Let's start with the design. By 1980, the 20-cent coin had long been established as an Australian icon thanks to Stuart Devlin's masterful depiction of the platypus. This creature, native only to Australia, embodies the uniqueness of the continent's wildlife, and its underwater movement is captured in elegant, flowing curves that still look modern even today. The obverse still bore the Arnold Maschin effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, the elegant, familiar young queen that remained standard on Australian coinage until 1984. What really stands out in 1980 is the mintage figure. A whopping 58 million coins were struck that year. With such high mintage, most of the coins were used extensively in circulation. Because of that, finding a 1980 20-cent coin in pristine uncirculated condition is not as easy as one might think. Circulated examples are typically worth only their face value, but when it comes to mint state grades, especially MS65 and higher, values can reach $25,000 to $37,000, with truly exceptional specimens fetching even more. But what really ignites collector interest in the 1980 20-cent coin is one legendary variety, the double bar variety. This variety refers to two small raised bars that appear behind the platypus's head. These bars are the result of die polishing issues, and not all coins display them, making the double bar variety more elusive and highly collectible. Some collectors actively seek this variety, with values rising to $15,000 or more for uncirculated examples that clearly show the double bars. The double bar variety is also a point of debate. Are the bars intentional? Are they the result of machine error? Regardless of origin, collectors prize them, and spotting a double bar coin in your pocket change is like finding treasure. Many newer collectors begin their hunt for coin varieties with the 1980 20-cent coin. It's affordable, it's iconic, and it teaches the keen-eyed observer to look closer at everyday coins. Even standard, well-preserved 1980 20-cent coins are sought after when part of complete mint year sets. With interest in 1980s memorabilia and collectibles on the rise, coins from this era are increasingly nostalgic. The 1980 20-cent coin is more than a piece of change. It's a piece of the Australian experience. From vending machines to pocket change, from supermarket tills to online auctions, it has traveled across generations and continues to capture the imaginations of numismatists today. Next up, 1972 20-cent coin. The 1972 Australian 20-cent coin is not just another early decimal coin. It's one of the key dates in the 20-cent coin series. While the design remained the same as other years, with Stuart Devlin's iconic platypus on the reverse and Queen Elizabeth's youthful effigy by Arnold Maschin on the obverse, the real story of 1972 lies in its low mintage. Only 5.8 million 20-cent coins were struck. In 1972, the lowest mintage of any standard circulation 20-cent coin until that time, and one of the lowest overall. This makes it highly sought after by collectors, especially those building year-by-year decimal sets or key date collections. In circulated condition, it may still look like an ordinary coin, but don't be fooled. This is a sleeper key date. Circulated 1972. 20-cent coins can fetch $300 to $500. Depending on wear and condition. But things get much more exciting when we talk about higher grades. In uncirculated or near uncirculated condition, especially MS64 and higher, values can range from $55,000 to over $65,000. Coins that are certified by grading companies, like PCGS or NGC, and attain MS66 grades or higher, have been known to sell for even more, sometimes exceeding $85,000. Especially if they exhibit strong strikes and full mint luster. Another important factor is how difficult it is to find 1972 coins in brilliant uncirculated condition. Many were put straight into circulation, and very few were saved in mint rolls. That makes high-grade examples harder to find compared to other years, and with each passing year, those few brilliant pieces only become more scarce. There are no widely documented varieties or errors. For the 1972 20-cent coin, which makes the focus for collectors all about condition and completeness. A 1972 coin is a must-have to complete a full decimal year set, and its status as a key date ensures its value and demand will only increase with time. So, the next time you're going through your change, keep an eye out for 1972. Even in worn condition, it's a coin worth saving, and in top condition, it's a numismatic prize. Next up, 1975 20-cent coin. The 1975 Australian 20-cent coin might not immediately stand out to the casual observer, but for collectors, it's a coin rich in character and with its own place in the decimal series timeline. Minted during a period of economic challenge in Australia, with inflation rising and changes in coinage policies looming, this coin captures the stability of coin design even during turbulent times. The platypus design on the reverse, by Stuart Devlin, continues to be one of the most praised works in modern Australian coinage. Its artistic integrity, the flowing water, and the detailed rendering of the animal represent Devlin's genius and Australia's natural heritage. On the obverse, Queen Elizabeth II appears in Arnold Machine's classic portrait, a symbol of continuity and elegance. The mintage figure for 1975 stands at approximately 46.7 million coins. While not among the lowest mintage years, it's still less than many years that followed, making it an interesting and valuable year for condition-focused collectors. In circulated condition, most 1975 coins have little more than face value, typically selling for $50 to $150 depending on wear. But in brilliant uncirculated grades, values can jump considerably. In MS64 to MS66 grades, 1975 25 coins can command prices between $22,000 and $28,000, particularly for coins that have not been touched by human hands, exhibit full luster, and lack the common bag marks that plague circulated issues. What collectors really appreciate about the 1975 coin is how it has aged. Many coins from that year exhibit natural toning, and coins with attractive rainbow or peripheral toning are especially popular. Furthermore, error collectors occasionally encounter off-center strikes or partial collar strikes from 1975. These rare errors can fetch $41,000 to $43,000 or more, depending on severity and visual appeal. Though it lacks a major design change or widely known variety, the 1975 20-cent coin represents an important chapter in the first decade of Australia's decimal currency. It's part of a core set, and for collectors building complete, runs from 1966 to the present. 1975 is a year that must not be overlooked. The story of the 1975 coin is a reminder that not all valuable coins are flashy or famous. Sometimes value lies in subtlety, in the consistent quality of the strike, the luster of untouched metal, and the quiet passage of time that turns an ordinary object into a collectible artifact. Next up, 1981 Nacor 20-cent coin. The 1981 Australian 20-cent coin is one of the most intriguing and dynamic issues in the entire decimal series, not necessarily because of a rare design or low mintage, but because of its multi-mint origins and potential foreign-struck varieties. In this single year, we see a coin that offers more depth and collector appeal than most realize at first glance. The coin features the standard Stuart Devlin reverse design of a swimming platypus surrounded by water currents, a modern Australian numismatic icon. The obverse still carries the Arnold Machine effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, consistent with issues from 1966 through 1984. The coin has a mass of 1131 grams and a diameter of 28.52 meter, struck in cupro-nickel alloy. But the real story starts when we look at where the coins were minted. Due to the high demand for coinage in 1981, Australia outsourced part of its 20-cent coin production to foreign mints, namely the Royal Canadian Mint and the Royal Mint in London, UK. As a result, 3 different versions of the 1981 20-cent coin exist, those struck in Canberra, Canada, and Wales. What makes these varieties so fascinating is that each mint produced coins with subtle differences in strike quality, edge detail, rim thickness, and in some cases font style and spacing. The Canadian-struck coins, for example, tend to exhibit a flatter strike, slightly wider rims, and a more matte finish. Meanwhile, the London minted versions can sometimes show crisper details and different die characteristics. The mintage for 1981 was huge, around 77 million coins, making it one of the highest of the series. However, collectors particularly value Canadian strikes, which are often distinguishable by a flatter profile and occasional variations in the positioning of the platypus or queen's bust. Some of these coins, especially when clearly attributable to the Canadian mint and in high uncirculated grades, can be worth $1,000 to $15,000, with exceptional errors or perfectly struck examples fetching even more. In terms of mint errors, 1981 coins are a playground. Due to the massive production numbers and multi-mint involvement, there are numerous error types, including off-center strikes, clipped planchets, double strikes, and die fill errors. These errors, depending on severity, can command $16,000 to $23,000 plus, especially when certified and well-preserved. 1981 is a prime year for variety collectors. If you're building a comprehensive decimal coin set, a full trio of 1981, Vincent coins from each mint is a beautiful and challenging subset to assemble. It turns what many assume is a common year into a year full of hidden treasures. So next time you see a 1981 20-cent coin, flip it over, examine the details, and ask yourself which mint made this. You might just discover that an ordinary-looking coin carries an extraordinary story. Next up, 2000 20-cent coin. The year 2000 was monumental, the dawn of a new millennium. In Australia, it was a time of national pride and international celebration, especially with the Sydney Olympic Games taking center stage. Amidst this energy and celebration, the Royal Australian Mint issued millions of circulating coins, including the standard 20-cent piece, but with several surprises for collectors. The standard 2000 20-cent coin features the traditional Stuart Devlin platypus design on the reverse. On the obverse, however, we now see the Ian Rank Broadley portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, introduced in 1998. This portrait is sharper and more realistic than the previous effigies and shows a more mature depiction of the monarch. The mintage of the 2000 standard 20-cent coin was 102 million, making it one of the more common issues. Circulated examples are readily found in daily use and typically trade at face value. But the real appeal comes in the quality, potential errors, and limited edition strikes. One major point of interest is the presence of uncirculated mint sets and commemorative Olympic coin collections released during the same year. While these did not include modified 20-cent coins, they brought a renewed interest in Australian coinage, making even the standard circulation coins more collectible. In high grades, MS65 and above, 2,000. 20-cent coins can command $12,000 to $14,000, particularly when they retain full mint luster and strike sharpness. A perfect specimen without bag. Marks is surprisingly hard to come by due to the massive volume of coins and the resulting wear during distribution. Another area of interest in the 2020 cent coin is mint errors. Though not as well known as the 2000 $1 mule coin, 20-cent pieces from this year have occasionally shown off-center strikes, broad strikes, and die clashes. These coins can sell for $15,000, depending on the severity and type of error. Collectors today often seek out 2020 cent coins as part of their turn-of-the-century set. It marks the beginning of a modern collecting era, and it's a reminder of how even recent coins can gain significance with time, especially when well-preserved or featuring minting anomalies. So even though over 100 million were made, don't underestimate the power of a clean, sharp, and potentially rare 2000 20-cent coin. It might just be worth far more than 20 cents. Next up, 1968 20-cent coin. The 1968 Australian 20-cent coin stands proudly as one of the foundational years in the decimal series, coming just 2 years after decimalization was introduced. In 1966, the 1968 coin was part of the country's early transition into a modern currency system. As such, it holds special appeal for both novice and seasoned collectors alike. The coin carries the well-known Stuart Devlin design of the platypus on the reverse. On the obverse, it features Arnold Machine's iconic young portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, a symbol of continuity as Australia shifted away from its traditional pounds, shillings, and pence. In terms of mintage, 1968 saw 36.4 million coins produced, a mid-range number compared to other early decimal years. However, fewer of these have survived in mint state condition, which is where value becomes evident. Circulated coins typically fetch $1,000 to $3,000, but in uncirculated condition, the 1968 20-cent coin can be worth $14,000 to $15,000, and even more for higher-grade examples. A key point of appeal in the 1968 issue is strike quality. Coins struck with early dies from this year show exceptional detail in the platypus's fur and the ripples of water. Collectors appreciate examples with full, sharp detail and minimal contact marks. Additionally, 1968 coins often show toning, and beautifully toned examples with rainbow hues can attract premium prices at auction. There have also been sightings of mint errors in this year, including off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and double-struck coins, which significantly boost value, often into the $100,000 to $2,000 range or more when authenticated. Another factor that adds to the coin's desirability is nostalgia. For many Australians, the 1968 coin brings back memories of their first experiences with decimal currency, school savings programs, pocket money, or the shift in pricing at local shops. As a result, this coin has both numismatic and emotional value. For anyone building a date set of Australian 20-cent coins, 1968 is absolutely essential. Its history, design consistency, and aging rarity make it a foundational piece in the broader story of Australian coinage. Next up, 1966 C 20-cent coin. The 1966 Australian 20-cent coin is not just the first of its kind. It is a landmark in Australian history as the inaugural 20-cent coin of the newly introduced decimal currency system. It represents the beginning of a new era, marking Australia's move from the British-style monetary system to a decimal-based one. This coin features Stuart Devlin's elegant and timeless depiction of the platypus on the reverse, gliding through stylized waves. On the obverse is Arnold Mashin's youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, the perfect combination of tradition and modernity. The mintage of the 1966 20-cent coin is massive. Over 58.2 million coins were struck at the Royal Mint in London, as Australia's own minting facilities were ramping up. These coins are generally well-made, with strong detail and a solid strike. But over the years, most have seen heavy circulation. While worn examples may still only fetch around $1,000, uncirculated coins in top condition can range from $16,000 to over $26,000, especially when certified and preserved properly. What sets the 1966 coin apart, however, are the numerous varieties and errors associated with the first-year production. This includes struck-through grease errors, clipped planchets, die cracks, and most notably, the wavy baseline variety. The wavy baseline 20-cent is one of the most famous varieties in Australian decimal coin collecting. It refers to a subtle wave on the bottom, stroke of the number 2, in 20 on the reverse of the coin. This variation was the result of a die modification and is extremely rare. If you're lucky enough to find one, especially in mint state, you could be holding a coin worth between $2,000 and $25,000 or more. Even circulated examples can sell for over $5,000. Because of this, many collectors actively check their 1966 20-cent coins under magnification, hunting for that elusive wave, a simple curve that can make an ordinary-looking coin extraordinarily valuable. The 1966 20-cent coin is more than just a piece of money. It is a piece of history, the first of its denomination, the foundation of the decimal system, and the origin point for modern Australian coin collecting. Whether you're starting your collection or deepening it, no Australian coin cabinet is complete without the iconic 1966 20-cent. Thanks for watching and happy collecting.